First, so many questions remain after the medical examiner in New York City officially ruled Jeffrey Epstein's death inside a city jail a suicide. Late yesterday, they said the accused sex trafficking financier with the high-powered friends hanged himself with a bedsheet. But the investigation into this death and its ramifications is only just beginning. The Justice Department is looking into reports that guards supposed to be watching Epstein were literally asleep on the job. And Attorney General Bill Barr has already sent senior investigators to the Metropolitan Correctional Center to try to get to the bottom of what happened there. In a few minutes, I will talk live with top forensic pathologist, Dr. Cyril Wecht, about the case and the questions that remain unanswered despite this medical examiner's ruling. But first, my open. I've seen the criminal justice system buckle to power and money before. In fact, I wrote a book about it. He killed them all. Robert Durst, where money buys freedom, ridiculous plea deals that make no sense, where punishment is more like vacation than incarceration. After decades in law enforcement, there is nothing that makes me more furious than when the fix is in. And the fix was in the Jeffrey Epstein case. The burden is now on Attorney General Bill Barr to restore confidence in the American criminal justice system. Although Epstein's case is abated by his death, the case must not die with him. The civil lawsuits by his victims have rightfully already begun. Now, I'm not exaggerating when I say Jeffrey Epstein should have been in jail for the rest of his life when he was arrested in Palm Beach, Florida in 2005. That case was first a local case until Alex Acosta, the United States attorney, and the federal government, in a highly unusual move, swooped in, took the case from the local DA. Like an archangel, Acosta said he wants to make sure that there is justice. He claims the case was mishandled by the local DA. Yet, in the end, after 2 years, he sends it back to the very same DA from whom he took it. Acosta held the case in limbo for 2 years. You're probably thinking he's working with victims. He's looking for more victims of this monster to corroborate their nightmares. He's looking for the high-powered co-conspirators to whom the women were farmed out. According to the victims, female co-conspirators found them, groomed them, trained them, and then monitored them to be Epstein's sex objects and gifts to other powerful men. Acosta, the U.S. attorney, admitted he knew of 36 victims, but some say they knew of 80, some as young as 13 years old. He knew Epstein was a money manager, a hedge fund millionaire with his own jet. Any prosecutor worth his salt would have started a money laundering investigation, an investigation that crossed both state and international lines. So, did Acosta get a search warrant to search Epstein's house in Palm Beach, like the U.S. attorney did in the Southern District of New York, to find a trove of memorabilia that all pedophiles are known to keep? And by the way, all computers were removed before a search warrant was even served in Palm Beach. Enter the big guns: Ken Starr, Alan Dershowitz, Jay Lefkowitz, Roy Black, the best defense attorneys money can buy, no matter who the defendant. Acosta, in defending his plea deal of the century, claims that he suffered a year-long assault from these defense attorneys, that it was more aggressive than any he or his staff had previously encountered. So Acosta and his so-called team of professional prosecutors turn into cowards. They turn into wimps, wusses, punks, and worse. Any prosecutors worth his salt would go after a case like this with a vengeance. Young girls robbed of their innocence, controlled and trafficked by men of such power that even the act of coming forward took more courage than Acosta and his staff could muster up. Imagine they had the federal government, the FBI, forensic accountants, confidential informants. The big bad defense attorneys scare the federal government. Really? Now, a 53-page indictment was prepared, but never filed. It included money laundering and other interstate crimes, and yet Acosta agrees to a non-prosecution agreement, a plea to 2 counts of soliciting prostitution while unindicted co-conspirators are protected in perpetuity. He meets with defense lawyers in a hotel room at 7 a.m. in a city where he has his own office. I have worked with them, and I have never known a United States attorney to meet defense attorneys alone on their turf in a quiet hotel room without any DOJ backup. Acosta agrees to keep the young women out of the conversation. The law requires that they be in it. So he violated the federal law. A federal judge has held so. His excuse for working a deal is that it was 2008 and it was so hard to get convictions then compared to today. Well, I got news for you, pal. Real prosecutors were trying sex abuse cases in the 80s and winning them when there was only 1 victim and you had 36 because they gave a damn. Now, Acosta says he wanted to protect the young women's anonymities. He's full of crap again. Every state gives them anonymity. And by not notifying them, he violated the Crime Victims' Rights Act. He then dropped all investigations into Epstein's conduct and canceled all the subpoenas. So, Acosta, what did you get in that hotel room that caused you to sell the innocent victims to the devil and allow a predator to get away with 1 year, 6 days of which he was allowed to leave 12 hours a day? Think of it. A pedophile on the loose. A pedophile who never overcomes his predilections. I know, I prosecuted them. Only castration can do that. More victims to abuse. What's that? The sheriff and the DA let him out of jail every day for 12 hours, 6 days a week. So why the hell didn't you go after them? But the coup de grace is that the plea deal forever protected his co-conspirators from prosecution of any criminal charge at any time in the future without even naming them. Folks, this is unheard of. Why would any prosecutor tie the hands of fellow law enforcement for crimes committed with and by pedophiles? Why would you do that? Why were you looking to protect Jeffrey and fellow predators? What benefit could you possibly have gotten? What did you get to give away the deal of a lifetime? And is that why you took the case in the first place? To only then give it back to the guy you took it from? Fast forward to 2019. A new indictment by the Southern District of New York. And some of your cases, Alex Acosta, are in that indictment. Acosta, were you shaking when Bill Barr said he would invalidate the immunity for the co-conspirators? Were you shaking when Bill Barr said the co-conspirators should not rest easy? Now, the only way to break this case is to bring those in power to their knees before the federal government. Bill Barr must monitor this case very closely. We already know that Epstein was able to walk because of a U.S. attorney who, at best, was more interested in his career than doing justice, and at worst, was bought and the pawn of high-powered defense attorneys. Mr. Barr, the American people await your decision. And that decision, Mr. Barr, will impact more than just the Epstein case. It will impact our faith in the American system of justice. And that's my open. Let me know what you think on my Facebook, Twitter, #JudgeJeanine.